We have one more speaker before the break, and I think we're going to switch tone a bit now and talk not about how to run retail, but what's in retail, what's in the stores. So I'd like to ask, please, to introduce our next speaker. Invite from Technoseal, Richard Beaulieu, to come up and introduce. Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael, for this opportunity. Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to introduce our second speaker this morning. The topic of his address is product trends you need to know about. Frank Turco is a senior manager, trend design, private brands, and global sourcing for Home Depot Canada. He has spent 12 years in the retail industry and has worked for both Canadian and U.S. firms. He's moved through various management positions in merchandising, product development, brand management, sourcing, and especially, pertinent to his seminar this morning, trends and designs. A graduate of the University of Toronto, Frank joined Home Depot in 2007 and has since become a frequent spokesman on TV programs like Cityline and Breakfast Television. Among his other work in the media, Frank also writes a monthly column for Canadian Living magazine called Design Dilemmas. Here, to outline some of the important product and design trends we can all benefit from, please welcome Mr. Frank Turco from Home Depot Canada.
I have no idea who that guy is you're talking about, but it sounds pretty awesome. Thanks for that introduction. Hi everybody, Frank Turco. As the screen says, at least I hope it does, in a second. That's not me. That's me. Trend Guru. That's actually not the title that I gave myself, but Hardlines gave me that title. I like it so much that it will actually go on my next business card reorder. So thank you, Hardlines, for that acknowledgement, if you will. So you're getting some great first-hand product information today. I just got back from what I like to call a journey. You can actually go to the next slide. Or I'm going to do that, aren't I? Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I spent 12, 13 days or so in Europe. As you can see the journey, follow the arrows. I started in London, where stopped in for a pint of beer, some bangers and mash, took in some of the beautiful stores that are in that market. I then made my journey over to Cologne, where I attended the outdoor living best show in the industry called Spoga. From there, I made my way to Paris, where I also attended another great trade show, one of my favorite, called Maison and Objet. And then I finished my journey in Milan, where I attended another great industry show, really focusing on interior furniture and holiday and home furnishings called Matchef. And then came back home. Quite an exciting journey, and quite an exciting opportunity for me to see some great retailers and really some great innovation product. This isn't a product trend, but it's certainly a trend that I need to speak to. Retailers are doing some pretty amazing things these days. They're aligning themselves with some strategic partners and coming up with some really amazing innovation product and design. Adidas was probably one of the first to join forces with Stella McCartney a few years back and developed a great exclusive collection of clothing and footwear. H&M is just about to launch a relationship with Versace, so a very well-known Italian designer. Loblaw, as you all know, a great association with Joe Fresh. Talk about providing really stylish clothing and home furnishings at really value prices every single day while shopping for your groceries. What a weird phenomenon that is. And I actually saw the Joe Fresh fashion show last week in Toronto, and you have not seen anything yet. It's really getting stylish. And then lastly, Target. We already heard they're going to be here in 2013. Recently, they launched an amazing alignment with Missoni, a very high-end Italian designer, offering apparel, footwear, accessories, home decor, at just unbelievable prices. That association, that product launch, if you will, was so amazing for Target. They sold out in days and it crashed their website. They actually have a campaign that says that the product is available until the end of October. They are basically sold out and have been for weeks. So really, you look at the center, the price is right. All of us in here, we obviously need to do what all these other retailers are doing, really start to come up with some great innovation, whether it's in alignment with someone or whether it's just innovation in product at affordable prices for the Canadian consumer. And so I'm just going to show you some of the things that I've seen that I think will really, hopefully, drive some of those growth numbers we saw earlier today with respect to the home improvement industry for the most part. And I do apologize. I see that the audience here is fairly male-dominated. I really don't have a lot of power tools in this presentation. So the influences, everything from fashion, technology, wallpaper, which is that magazine in the top right-hand corner, does an amazing job of really showcasing commercial properties, boutique hotels all around the world. The auto industry, very much an influencer. Pay close attention to those LED daytime running lights. We'll be talking about that in a minute. Of course, all infamous designers who do a great job of inspiring us with beautiful ads like you see in the bottom left in some shelter magazines. Of course, the importance of color, usually demonstrated through paint, but nonetheless color and how important that is. And lastly, a focus on the environment. So let me start off with what I think is one of the coolest things out there. And it's still really in a prototypical phase right now, so it's not fully developed, although I think Samsung has a version that's probably the most similar. It's essentially a smartphone as a fridge panel. How cool is this? So it's, think about your iPhone now being converted to a fridge panel. And the things that you can do with this fridge are just unbelievable. First of all, you can read your barcodes, so as you bring consumables home and other products that have a barcode or UPC code on them, you can just scan them in front of this fridge and it will automatically load all of that information into the fridge's database. Anything that doesn't have a barcode, let's say a bag of apples, you can just enter the quantity of apples that you have and, of course, what that item is, and that will get stored into the fridge. So, what's the benefit of all of that? You come home from work one day and you haven't got a clue what you want to eat for dinner. You just tap onto your panel, and this will tell you what recipes you can make based on all the food and ingredients that are in the fridge. It gets even better than that. As you're actually prepping and cooking the meal, it will actually talk to you. So read out the recipe and all the necessary steps you need to follow in order for you to get that really. This is really good. So I think I'm starting with the best, but there's a lot of great stuff here as well. While we're in the kitchen, let's talk about induction cooktops. Talk about energy efficiency. The technology here is just unbelievable, great to cook on. The surface really just does what it needs to do, which is cook, so you're not wasting a lot of energy. And really just the coolest in terms of styling. Gas stoves are obviously key and still an important item, but induction cooking is just really the way of the future. Steam ovens. This is actually a really new phenomenon. So many of us are really going green and getting more organic and planting our own vegetables in our backyard and growing our own herbs. Well, if you're going to do all of that, you obviously want to start eating a little bit healthier. And one of the ways in which you can do that is by investing in a steam oven. Very, very popular in Europe, and of course will soon transcend into North America. But just an amazing item. Everything that you need to do with respect to steam, done right there in that one oven. Wall ovens, so huge trend. One of the biggest things that I saw when I was in Europe not that long ago is just the size of the pantry. The pantry is typically here, 30-inch and 36-inch width and 84 inches high. Well, the pantry now has become a wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling item. It's just amazing. It really just takes over the kitchen, if you will. And so with that, there's the introduction of wall ovens and microwaves and steam ovens into that pantry. The other appliance, if you will, that is being integrated into those is the espresso maker. So really an essential trend. Sorry, Starbucks, but we can now actually integrate that into their pantry and make our own fresh espresso every single day. The item you're seeing on the bottom there is actually a tabletop microwave with a convection oven shelf underneath it. is actually, again, a really nice, cool item. Really, the innovation in these appliances is just amazing. While we're still in the kitchen, let's talk about LED. And actually, we're going to be talking about that a little bit more later on. But there's an explosion of LED lighting going on in home furnishing and home decor. You can see here the picture on the top right is actually a kitchen island or a kitchen cabinetry. You can see the LED lighting not running only on the bottom, so really where you typically have your toe kick, but also being integrated into the lip of the countertop. Really, really cool. The item on the left, pretty obvious what it is. It's a faucet. But again, the introduction of LED lighting incorporated into that faucet, and also the functionality of just having a single lever. And then in the middle, it looks like a swimming pool, but it's actually a kitchen sink. But again, integrated with little LED lights, so you're getting, fill it up with water, throw in your asparagus or whatever that looks like there, and you're literally turning your sink into a swimming pool with some really cool ambient lighting. The home office. How many of us are working from home? Sometimes. Obviously, you know the numbers of people that are actually spending more time at home working from home. So there's a huge trend to creating what I like to call not a home office, but really a home office environment. Obviously a little futuristic on the left side. Looks like a giant egg, but you get the sense that people are looking for spaces that are really dedicated, private, quiet within their home to create this home office environment. To the right, this is actually really, we'll talk about the top right first. That's essentially just a sliding door closet. So really just taking advantage of any little nook or cranny space that you can find in your house to create this home office environment. Best thing about that is you can slide the door closed if you don't want someone to see what it looks like. That one looks pretty neat to me. This item on the bottom right, super cool. It's actually the amalgamation of a kitchen and a home office. Kitchen components really being, there's a sink there, there's a faucet, you can see a coffee maker that is integrated into that shop. So that's part of the kitchen experience that you're bringing into the home office environment. The other side really being a desk, again lit with LED lighting, desk lamp integrated into the home office space, again with LED lighting, and then of course all of your different storage compartments. So that's really just shows you where that home office space is going. It really is about creating an environment, not just throwing a laptop or an iPad on a desk. The bath. Really cool new innovation in showers and shower heads. I know they don't look like showers, but they actually are. The one on the far left, obviously, really, really cool. It's sort of futuristic looking. But really there's two stories here. There's one about style, and then the second really being about functionality. So there is a whole, obviously, water conservation story here as well. It's some of this styling, although it is really, really cool and innovative, also does serve a dual purpose in terms of the functionality. The one in the middle, which is also the close-up on the right of the actual head of the shower head, is actually really, really cool. Just, they actually look like wall sconces, but at the end of the day, they're pouring out water on your head. Pretty neat. The floor. Love what's happening here. The image on the far left, so cool. We're obviously all used to seeing flooring, whether it's hardwood, laminate, doesn't really matter. I've got some vinyl to show you in a second, as being just straight edges, straight lines. Well, we're seeing a huge trend to this new flooring, and it's really about having curvatures, almost taking the natural grains of the wood and just following those along to create your floor. I don't want to be that guy that has to install that, because I'm sure it's not going to be easy. But again, it is something that is starting to develop. The technology is already out there. Those are real floors, and really something that's cool and innovative in that segment of the business. The other side on the right is vinyl, and I've actually got a couple of vinyl samples that I'll show you. The evolution of vinyl flooring today is just remarkable. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm trying to hold it steady and also with some light, but there's actually texture on here. So you can get things like hand-scraped looks. You can really get these great, sort of wood grains and the texture out of vinyl. The best part about vinyl is, from a DIY perspective, first of all, it's very, very affordable, but you're getting some pretty amazing looks that mimic hardwood and laminates. And you're also spending less money than you would typically for not typically, definitely for a hardwood floor, perhaps even for a laminate. And it's so easy to install. Easy to cut, easy to install, just a great, great product. But the technology, the advancements in technology of the vinyl flooring today is just remarkable. Once you lay this down, you honestly do feel like you're walking on a hardwood floor. Very, very cool. Sorry, it's a little loud. The wall. So some really great stuff going on with respect to tiles. Image on the far left, just really showing you what's happening with respect to tiles, but more so for the wall than for the floor. They're getting glossy. So those glossy tiles that we used to have in our bathrooms, 20 years ago, probably in the 80s, 90s, early 90s, are back. Again, not so much for the flooring surface, but certainly for a wall. On the other side, you're actually seeing some pretty cool innovation and technology in peel and stick product. You may have seen some of these products, or you certainly would have if you've been to Home Depot lately. These are called smart tiles, and they're basically just peel and stick tiles. Great for anyone who's looking, if you're in an apartment and you're renting, let's say your backsplash is not looking so nice, or your bathroom needs a little bit of a refresh. Really affordable, great option for people. It also comes in on 4x4, which I thought I had here. But this is even cooler. These are actually metal tiles, but on a peel and stick backing. So it's actually, and I love this one, so the cool stainless steel mosaic pattern. But this is the latest innovation with respect to tiling. They're under $20. So you think, well, that's not really that cheap, is it? But when you think about the labor, the tile set, the grouting that isn't required, it is quite an affordable value. So when you think about that concept of having trends at a price, if it isn't in alignment to a celebrity or a designer, it's really about having some great innovation product that's value priced for consumers. So they're getting the latest trends because these tiles are really, really cool, but at really value prices. You guys don't seem as excited as I am about it. That's pretty cool stuff. Where are we? Home furnishing. So what's happening in lighting? Well, lighting, it's all about exposing yourself. Filament bulbs, are obviously the hottest thing. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's actually the bulb that's in the second image. Probably is in the first one too, but it's not as clear as the second. And so if you're going to spend upwards of $30 for your light bulb, you want to show it off. So what's happening with respect to lighting is that we're starting to see a lot of glass and crystal, not necessarily cut crystal, lighting options so that you can actually expose your filament bulbs. The top right image and also the one touching it, if you will, is all about animal. And I'm a firm believer that everyone should have a little animal in their life, and it doesn't necessarily have to be alive. So this is a great example of that, because everything you see in that top picture is essentially wrapped in some animal fur. So it's not only the armchair, it's the area rug on the ground, it's the table lamp. If you can see the shade in the shot, is also fur. Everything about that room is dedicated to animals, unfortunately. But the coolest innovation is what's happening to the front of things like, a set of drawers. We're opting out of wood fronts and replacing that with animal. So again, everyone should have a little animal in their life, and it doesn't necessarily have to be alive. And that's a great way to get that. And in terms of area rugs, the coolest innovation in area rugs is a patchwork rug, which you see there. So it's basically pieces of carpet all cut up, shaded on the pile, and then over dyed. So you get this really, really cool look. In fact, a lot of the colors we're seeing here are really bold and expressive. And I'm going to talk a little bit about color in a minute, but that is certainly the latest and coolest innovation in the area rug business today. The garage. We can't forget about the important garage. Look how happy that couple is in the top left. And that story really is just about garage storage. There are so many really cool, innovative products that are out there that you can even make yourself, if you will, to really create that perfect garage storage environment. Below, I talked about organics and how so many of us are spending a lot more time in our gardens planting vegetables. We're seeing a lot of conversions of garages to potting centers or potting stations. So it's a great example there. They've actually gone a little step further and even integrated a farmhouse in the sink, which is really, really cool. but there is a big trend to converting some of that garage space into a potting station. The other big trend is just taking the garage and turning it into an additional room. So you see in the top right, really creating almost that home office environment, if you will. Clearly in a climate like Canada's, you probably require some heating, but nonetheless, it is a concept, it is a trend that is out there. People are starting to take over their garage spaces, voiding the car and turning them into usable, functional spaces. And then a little bit of technology. For those of us that have iPhones, you can now program your garage door opener with your iPhone. There's an app out there that will actually allow you to do that. So as you drive out to your driveway, just get out your phone, and while you stop texting and driving, you can open your garage door. The outdoors. So I mentioned I went to Spoga, saw a lot of really, really cool things. So talking about organics, so one of the things that I saw was just many, many containers. It didn't matter what they looked like for vegetable gardens. Some examples you can see on the top left, vertical gardening. So really taking advantage of a wall space. If you're in a condo specifically, you might have a really small balcony, and maybe you don't have one at all. But really just taking advantage of some outside wall space and just hanging some cool planters like you see in the far left, and growing some organic vegetables. Also some other configurations just below. We'll talk about composite in a second. Water feature. I think it's absolutely critical for those of us that have the luxury of an outdoor space to take advantage of it with a little bit of a water feature, whether that's a freestanding fountain or something as cool and sophisticated as the one you're seeing in the top middle, which really is just a cement base with a pipe coming out wrapped in sheet metal or stainless steel. But it's a pretty cool thing, and I think it's absolutely critical to have some water feature. Rain barrels, that's what that image is in the middle there. They don't look as ugly as they used to, so some pretty cool stuff happening with respect to rain barrels. So much so these birds are actually loving it as well. The far right image, sort of the future, if you will, of the outdoor grill. Everyone's obviously very used to propane cooking and those types of gas grills, but this is actually, sort of the marriage of your induction cooktop, but for the outside space. So that is a really cool, really unique item, obviously, and perhaps not for everybody, of course. I'm sure it was not an inexpensive piece, but it just goes to show you the trend of bringing that induction cooktop cooking, form and function, if you will, to your outdoor space. The bottom right, those little pyramids are actually audio systems. Really, really cool. You'll probably see one at a cool boutique hotel in Miami any day now. But what it is essentially an iPad docking station. So you lift up the top of the pyramid, you put down your iPad or iPhone or whatever product you have, something, and put your top back on. It comes with a rechargeable battery, and it even has an LED light show. So as you're listening to your favorite tunes, you're also getting a really cool ambient light show out of your outdoor audio system, and it's fully waterproof, which is obviously necessary. And then lastly, on the bottom left, I'll talk about composite. I think everyone's pretty aware of what's happening with respect to composite decking. Really huge phenomenon. The options of composite decking are so vast today. You can really get some great textures, some great colors out there to really, come up with a great maintenance-free solution for your backyard space. But what I love is this latest product. So if someone does have a traditional cedar or pressure-treated deck, like you see a piece of here, there's now a really cool composite cover that you can buy just to put over top. All you need is a little adhesive. My friend PL Premium is my favorite. And there you go. You've all of a sudden covered, let me flip that up for you guys. All of a sudden covered your old ugly deck without having to worry about any maintenance or really probably not even that hard in terms of labor. Ooh, no. Nobody likes this stuff. Okay, the world of LED. You guys are like, come on, you need some energy in this room. The world of LED. I would plug this in if I knew where a plug was, but I think you all know what this is. This is actually an LED world light. Great for indoor or outdoor use. So as we're heading into the holiday season, you can certainly put this outside for your holiday decorating. But I actually like to use it inside. And so I showed you earlier kitchen cabinetry that has some LED lighting incorporated into the toe cake and also into the countertop. Well, you're probably thinking, yeah, that's great, Frank, but how expensive is that cabinetry if I wanted to buy it? Well, you don't have to buy it. You can actually just take one of these and create your own LED environment. So this is the easiest thing to install, obviously, as long as you have your outlet. And it does come with clips, and you can easily attach this to the bottom of your countertop, and all of a sudden you've got that great-looking countertop, as you see. Together, it's the top left image, by just buying an inexpensive rope light and integrating it into your kitchen space. But the world of LED is really unbelievable. You're seeing there the faucet and the blue light as the water is streaming out, LED integration, and we're already seeing a lot of those out in the marketplace. The image next to that is a bathtub with LED lighting incorporated into it. Really, really cool for someone who's looking for a bit of a light show. Bath experience. The vanity that you're seeing on the top right is just really a glass top, and again, probably something as simple as this was just wrapped around the bowl, giving you that LED light experience. We talked about the kitchen, and why don't I look at the screen? The outdoors, so you're seeing that sectional in the bottom left. That's actually an outdoor piece of furniture, but again, integrated with some LED lighting. What they've done there is they've actually wrapped just pieces of acrylic all around the sectional and integrated probably something, again, as simple as this in the bottom of it, giving you, again, that ambient LED lighting experience for your outdoor space. Those pots, I think you've already seen these out in the marketplace, but they're starting to get a little bit more colorful, if you will, and so lightweight. If you haven't picked one of these up, they're so light, but they're so cool. And again, there's LED light incorporated into those pots, which is really, really neat. And then the world of appliances. Of course, if you bought an appliance lately, specifically a fridge, you open up the fridge and inside, it's all LED lights. If there's a panel on the outside of your appliance, maybe a dishwasher or a dryer, again, that panel is probably an LED component. Well, there's two appliances there that I'll highlight that were featured last year at the Euro Cucina show. The one in the middle, can anyone guess what that is? The one with the red ring around it? It's actually a washer. It's a washing machine. Clearly, it wouldn't hold much more than a pair of socks and maybe some underwear, but nonetheless, it is a really cool wall washing machine that also has the LED lighting component incorporated into it, and as it's doing its specific rinses or cycles, it actually changes colors to let you know what it's doing. So really, really cool. And then the item on the bottom that looks like sort of a white island is actually a really cool piece of a kitchen. It actually is a sink and a dishwasher incorporated into one. It recycles the water, so as your water is going down your drain, it actually stores that water and then uses it for the dishwasher a little later on, which is kind of cool in itself, but I think for the most part. And then the coolest thing too is, again, the LED lighting component. So as your dishwasher is on, doing whatever it needs to do, you've got this strip of LED lighting that's telling you what it's doing, so it changes colors as it's going through the various cycles. I have to show you this because I absolutely love it. I'm sure all of us have a closet in our house that we all wish had some lighting in it, right? You're getting dressed in the morning and you think you're putting on black and maybe it's brown or blue. This is the coolest thing. It's a little LED light flute. And just battery operated with 3 batteries in here. And all of a sudden you've got this great LED light. And the best part about it, it comes with a little mounting bracket. It's magnetic. And you can also screw it into a wall if you need to. Pretty cool, huh? And I also love this one. So you now have a solution for that dark closet space, or any dark space, or even under cabinet lighting for your kitchen. This one's even better. Look how bright that light is, 30 times brighter. I really, really love this. And again, mounting bracket, magnetic. This one's actually really cool for under cabinet lighting, or even that home office environment where you need some task lighting. These are great solutions for either one of those. Thank you. Finally, color. Let's talk a little bit about color. So there's a whole retro thing going on where, for those of us that have and love brown, well, brown's coming back. With brown, it's also some of those retro colors that you can think about associated to brown. So we're seeing some yellow, we're seeing some chartreuses, we're seeing some burnt orange. So really the return of brown as the anchor with all these other colors around it. For those of us that have loved purple for years, it's not going away, it's just getting lighter, so it's becoming lilac. And then for those of us who need a little bit of pop in our lives, we've got this whole infusion of neon brights. I have to give these guys some credit. Duct tape, how cool is this? They're a step ahead of us. I'm sure you've already seen these out in some stores available in arts and crafts stores, and obviously at the Home Depot. How cool is this? Duct tape. Duct tape in neon colors. I love this. Or duct tape in camouflage. Or duct tape in a zebra stripe. See, everyone needs a little animal in their lives. Duct tape will figure it out. So anyway, colors are really, the neon color story obviously is probably more appropriate for apparel than it is for furnishings per se, but nonetheless it is out there. And it's certainly a story to talk about. The patterns, I was really inspired by two. One being the chevron, and I like to say that the chevron really has never gone away, but it's just being reinvented. And two, the ways it's shown here are just fantastic. One being the flooring of your bathroom, which I absolutely love that pattern, and how cool it is, and sort of retro feeling. And then secondly is just taking a little bit of paint, providing a nice steady hand, and getting up and painting your ceiling. So that's that image, the second image, really cool chevron or herringbone pattern on your ceiling. You know, if you have some specialty paint, you can actually do, you know, maybe a metallic finish and a flat surface, so you're actually getting a little bit of sheen and a little bit of coolness in your ceiling. Over to the right is the return of Navajo. Yeah, you're probably already seeing it in apparel, at least I am. It is starting to influence home decor and home furnishings as well. What's really cool and different about it this time, than it was, say, in the 80s when we sort of called it Santa Fe, is that it's using less colors, so it's usually 2, maybe 3, not the 6 or 7 that were in that Santa Fe patterns back then. But it's also, you know, just taking a different spin on the actual pattern itself. So you're seeing that sofa, as an example, is just a version of Navajo that is just a little more updated, a little cooler. So, you know, if any of you still have any Navajo blankets or Navajo toss pillows or maybe even a Navajo sofa, you're cool again. And lastly, I'm going to end with, we've already talked about this, but you know, we always need a little bit of self-promotion. Why not take advantage of it while I can? I do contribute to an article in Canada called Design Dilemmas, where I like to offer Canadian leaders some insights into how they can solve their dilemmas. So I encourage you all to read it, and if you all have any design dilemmas, you can certainly write me an email, and I'm happy to feature it in one of the articles. Thank you very much. It's a prototype, there's no brand yet. Yeah. But Samsung has a version that's similar to it.
I think that fridge was out of sight too, wasn't that something? And it's one fellow chat. Somebody said to me in past, says, I don't need to get married anymore, he said. But what I wonder, Frank, is what I usually do is I bring the product, I bring everything home, put it in the fridge, and then 2 weeks later, and then eat out for a couple of weeks. And 2 weeks later, I take off the switch and put it in the green bin. Will there be some facility or timer that'll tell me when it's time to just throw it all out?
That's brilliant. And actually should. That would be great. That's a great idea because we all have stuff that we allow to expire.
Yeah, pretty much everything in mind is fresh, actually. What I do want to ask you, Frank, is if you don't mind, and we'll have to clean it up, don't you? You know, it's great to see all this stuff, and we can look at shows in Europe as well and around the world. Is there just some of it that won't relate to the Canadian market, or some of it that's just too far out?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of why I said, you know, the neon color as an example. I think, you know, home furnishings is probably a little bit too bold for Canadian consumers. I mean, in the Quebec market, they're maybe a little bit more receptive to it, but I'd say outside of, you know, some of those things being cost prohibitive, because obviously that can be an issue for people, I don't think there's anything that's too far out there. I mean, that washing machine obviously it's more stylish, so, you know, Canadian consumers would not invest in that.
I do like the idea of the wall sconce shower head. I got a lot of fun mounting that in the living room. It's time for the guests to go. You just flip the switch and let it water. Bruce, yes, go ahead. Bruce, do me a favor. Come to the mic. We got the technology now, so let's use it. You guys speak
Yeah,
up.
we have
We'll
a voice
all
technology.
hear you.
It's awesome.
Yesterday we heard about how much green and eco-friendly, but a lot of what you showed there is what I would call verging on opulent and excess. You know, do we really need LED lights in a faucet?
LED lights are actually more energy efficient, as you know. than
Sure it is.
CFLs.
Agreed, but not having any light in a faucet is even more environmental.
And then your faucet's not cool. Right, so you want to look cool, or you want to...
Well, and
I'm told, you're absolutely right.
you talk about the decking,
Yeah.
you know, the synthetic decking covered versus, we heard a lot about yesterday about wood products that are environmentally friendly versus, you know, this petrochemical thing. So you kind of wonder where, there's sort of two sides of the fence here that is coming forward, and where does the eco fit into the world you're seeing in terms of design trends?
Well, I think there's quite a few things that I talked about. Certainly, you know, jokingly, the LED, obviously, component is more energy efficient, as you know. It's not really there for that reason, though. It is, maybe in the inside of a fridge it could be. I mean, it makes sense from that perspective. But outside of that, it's really there for aesthetics. But some of the other items I talked about, specifically those container gardens, really is a focus on the organics and the shift in Canadian consumers' mindset, really, to growing their own vegetables, cultivating them, growing their own herbs, and not only outside in your backyard, but also bringing some of those items inside through the winter. I do. I bring herbs in, grow them all winter long. So I think, you know, some of those items that I showed you there really do have that green focus, if you will, from the perspective of they're there to support you know, an environmental shift, if you will, of people actually just growing their own vegetables. I'd say some of the other things that somebody think about, you know, I didn't really talk about paint, but obviously low VOC and zero VOC is a strong mandate for any paint company out there. So there's certainly a focus there with respect to, you know, a shift. The composite decking, although, you know, I get your point, it really is maintenance-free. So when you think about the protection of the environment from the perspective of not having to use stains, things like that, on your wood, because you've got a product now that really can be there for life, that just really needs to be washed down, is, again, that has that little bit of that environmental spin, if you will. So, you know, I didn't really focus on it per se, and didn't really offer you up a lot of different items. I certainly can be like that. I can get back to you personally. But I think a lot of what we talk about just does have that focus on it. It's just really, you know, it's a focus of being green, but also being cool and innovative at the same time.
I think that's a good point, that balance between what's innovative or what's convenient or what's affordable, as you
Right.
pointed out. And it's going to meet consumers' needs and balance against that greener, sustainable notion. Any other questions? Well, once again, you've done your job, Frank.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
And yes, we will, in keeping with Home Depot's policy, we will make a donation on your behalf to the Home Depot Foundation or whatever else it is that I discussed. So we do appreciate your presence here. We acknowledge accordingly. So thank you. All right, folks. Listen, we're all over the place on schedule here, but we are back to running on time, as we always try to do. And the Hardlines Conference, Day 2. I just want to remind you, for anybody that might have missed yesterday, this is the biggest gathering of delegates at a Hardlines Conference in our 16 years. And it's just great to have this many people close to, there's not close to, there's more than 200 people in the room. And that's just fantastic, even on the second.